My girlfriend had amnesia, and since then, life has been a maze of confusing emotions. When she woke up in the hospital, her eyes, which had previously been full of love and affection, stared at me as if I were a stranger. The shock of realizing that, to her, I was just another person in the world was devastating. I tried to be strong. I tried to believe that it was just a phase and that the memories would return, but with each passing day, the reality became more cruel. She didn't remember me. All the love we shared. One day, when despair was starting to set in, I overheard a conversation that changed everything. I was walking down the hallway and heard Sophia talking to a friend. "I'm pretending," she said, her voice sounding full of boredom. "I'm bored. I just want a new boyfriend." Those words hit me like a knife. Everything inside me fell apart in that instant. I, who had spent so much time by her side, fighting amnesia, trying to rekindle something that seemed lost, now saw myself as a disposable character in her story. It was as if the ground had disappeared beneath my feet. Every moment we had spent together, every smile she had given me, every hug we had shared, all of it suddenly felt like a lie. I felt betrayed, not by the memories she couldn't control, but by the intentions she was now revealing. "I'm just bored." Those words echoed in my mind over and over again, like a ghost that refused to go away. I decided then that something had to change. That's when I decided to have surgery to remove the brain tumor. I could no longer live in this uncertainty, in this constant oscillation between hope and despair. The surgery was risky, but I had no choice. It was the only chance I could try to get back to having a normal life, away from this mess that Sophia had become. When we met again after the surgery, her anger took me by surprise. Sophia confronted me, her eyes filled with a fury I couldn't comprehend. "Liam, are you pretending not to see me?" Her accusation was sharp, full of hurt. I didn't know how to respond. I stood there, staring at her with a blank expression. "Miss, do I know you?" The words came out almost automatically, as if my body was on autopilot, trying to avoid any emotional confrontation. She seemed to freeze for a moment, as if my answer was the last thing she expected to hear. The anger in her eyes turned into something deeper, a mix of frustration and disappointment. Maybe, for the first time, she was experiencing a little of what I had felt all these months. The emptiness, the confusion, the loss of someone we loved, even though we were so close. After that tense encounter, everything felt different. There was no more room for pretending. Not for me, not for her. The connection we once shared was broken, and I had no idea how, or if, we could ever repair it. All I could do was move on, pack my things, and leave that chapter behind. When I finally got back to the apartment we shared, the place I once called home, something strange happened. The person who opened the door wasn't Sophia. It was a young man, someone I had never seen before, but who somehow seemed to know me. There was something in his eyes, a gleam of recognition that he tried to hide. "Can I help you?" he asked, feigning confusion, as if I were a complete stranger. I felt a pang in my chest, somewhere between anger and sadness. This was my home. Or at least it used to be. But now, nothing about it seemed familiar. Everything was different, as if time had moved on without me noticing. "This is my home," I said without thinking. I immediately regretted the words. I knew that, in fact, that was no longer true. "At least it used to be," I added, trying to correct my discomfort. The young man in front of me feigned a sudden realization. "Oh, so you must be Mr. Brown. I mean Liam," he said with a smile that seemed rehearsed. The feeling of displacement only grew inside me. The person I loved, the place I called home, all seemed to have been ripped away from me, replaced by something unknown and distant. Now, standing there, in front of this stranger, I could only ask myself, at what point did my life stop being mine? "This is my home," I said, but the sentence had barely left my lips before I felt a deep sense of regret. "At least it used to be." The apartment I once shared with Sophia is now an emotional battlefield. Every wall is filled with the echoes of laughter, whispered secrets, and moments that now seem so distant. I never imagined that after our breakup, she would bring another man here, acting like he owned the place. Reality hits me like a punch in the gut. The man in front of me tries to hide his surprise, feigning sudden realization. "Oh, so you must be Mr. Brown. I mean, Liam." His smile is forced, almost sarcastic, as if he's having fun at my expense. You know, ever since Sophia woke up, her memory hasn't been so good. It's normal for her to forget some unimportant things. He says this as if I'm not there, as if my emotions don't matter. My heart races. Each word he utters is like a blade cutting through flesh. I shake my head silently, trying to process what is happening as I walk through the apartment. The familiarity of the space only intensifies the pain. The walls, once welcoming, now oppress me. Each object feels like a reminder of what I have lost, of what she now shares with another. Anguish tightens my chest. Then, in an instant, I hear a familiar voice. "Maybe this is your home, but it is not anymore," she says, and my heart stops for a moment. I turn around and there is Sophia, her arms crossed, her expression a mix of indifference and something I cannot decipher. "Mr. Brown, although I have forgotten many things, please be conscientious when packing your bags. Do not try to take anything that does not belong to you." The coldness in her voice echoes in my mind. The woman I knew, the one who once loved me, now seems like a stranger. There's a distance between us, as if a chasm has opened up where our love used to be. Sophia acts as if her memory has failed her, but at the same time, I feel like she knows exactly what she's doing. It's as if her amnesia is a convenient excuse to justify the new life she's built. I freeze, struggling to find the right words, but all I can do is look at her. My eyes search for a spark of recognition, of empathy, but I only find indifference. It's painful to realize that, even with her memory in tatters, she seems to have found peace in her new reality. And me? I'm a spectator of the life we both built, but that has now shattered into 1,000 pieces. The apartment, which should have been a home, becomes a stage for farewell. I look around, trying to absorb the details that now seem strange to me. The dining table we chose together, the paintings we hung, the sofa where we shared so many nights. All of this now belongs to another story, to a new beginning that no longer includes me. Sophia ignores me, turning her attention to the man next to her. A part of me wants to scream, to demand an explanation, but the other part realizes that nothing I say will change reality. The weight of the situation hits me with full force. I am stuck in an emotional limbo, torn between what I feel and what I can actually do. And then, as they exchange knowing glances, I realize that my fight is not just to recover what I have lost, but to find a way to move forward. It is a silent battle, and at this moment, I am but a shadow of my former self. In this apartment, everything seems lost. What to do now? The question echoes in my mind, but for now, there is no answer. This is a farce. The feeling of betrayal tightens my chest. Why should I care about him? If he really doesn't have feelings for me anymore, he could have asked for a breakup. I would have gone quietly, without making a fuss. But no. The fake amnesia he says Sophia has turns everything between us into an emotional battlefield. It's not only humiliating, but also a cruel way to trample on all the memories we've built together. Sophia and I shared laughs, confidences, and even dreams. Now, here I am, stifling the pain that consumes me, while she flirts with someone else as if everything we had never existed. Her look, full of joy, hurts me more than any words. I try to answer briefly, hiding my inner turmoil. I don't make a habit of stealing, but I feel like I'm being expelled from a life that used to belong to me. They're watching me, like hawks ready to pounce. Sophia's new boyfriend makes her laugh, and her laughter resonates in my heart, creating echoes of something that was once real. She used to cling to me, her touch full of tenderness, as if she couldn't bear the thought of being away. Now, she does the same to him. The scene is unbearable, and every gesture of theirs hurts, as if I were being cut into pieces. Sophia doesn't have many things. Just a few clothes, everyday items, but even so, each piece I put in my suitcase carries a part of our history. The weight of emotions makes the act of packing almost impossible. My fingers tremble as I gather objects that were once filled with meaning. At the same time, I feel an urgent need to finish this. Every second I spend there is torture. Finally, I manage to complete the task. I get up, but before leaving, I glance at Sophia. She doesn't say anything, just gestures with her hand, as if sending me away. It's as if she's sending me away from her life, and that hurts me more than any insult could. With a heavy heart, I grab my suitcase and head straight out the door. The cold of the world outside seems to contrast with the warmth of the memories I'm leaving behind. I feel the icy wind cutting my face, and I can't tell if it's tears or rain. My mind is in a whirlwind, questioning everything. Why does all this happen? How did we get to this point? Sadness and anger mix together, forming a knot in my stomach. As I walk, the city seems indifferent. The lights shine, the sounds of life continue, but inside me, everything is silent. What is left of us? A shattered story, full of hurt and disappointment. What can I do now? Carry on? Move forward? All of this is a constant struggle. The memories I carried now weigh down like anchors, and the freedom I seek seems ever more distant. As the cold envelopes me, I realize that the path ahead is uncertain. I am lost in a sea of emotions, and even with the door closed, I still feel Sophia's presence, like a shadow that never leaves. What awaits me around the next corner? The question echoes, but for now, I have no answers. The click of the door closing behind me echoes in the silence, an echo that seems to consume the empty space between us. I take a deep breath, but it is as if the air has become thick. My eyes burn, full of tears that refuse to fall. If I didn't have these memories, perhaps it would hurt less. Every thought is a reminder of what we lost, of what we were. I pick up my phone, hesitate for a moment. The weight of indecision overwhelms me. I decide to dial the doctor's number. My hand trembles slightly. Anxiety invades me. Soon, I will be at the hospital, ready to discuss the surgery plan. The tumor in my brain becomes a new kind of urgency amidst the emotional chaos that surrounds me. The headaches have become frequent, and I don't want to worry anyone about it. No one knows about my suffering, not even my closest friends. The doctor said the tumor is benign, but there is a risk of it becoming malignant. The best option is to remove it. The reality of this diagnosis weighs on my shoulders, mixing with the confusion I feel after the breakup. As I wait in the hospital waiting room, the faces around me blend into a cloud of strangers. The cold white light seems to accentuate the loneliness that surrounds me. The doctor appears, and his expression quickly becomes serious. I tell him about my symptoms, the pains that torment me, and he explains that the tumor is pressing on my nerves. The risk of surgery becomes palpable. Partial memory loss. My heart races. What if I forget who I am? What if I lose the memories I cherish so much? These memories are the essence of who I am, the pieces of the puzzle of my life. But after breaking up with Sophia, I find that many of these worries diminish. What else can I lose? The feeling of having nothing left worth remembering is a devastating blow. In the midst of this loss, a strange freedom emerges. The doctor explains the details of the procedure and the uncertainties surrounding recovery. I am not sure if I will be able to recover the memories of the past. This scares me, but it also makes me reflect on their importance. Every shared laugh, every tender moment with Sophia becomes a burden. What will be left of me if I do not remember? Finally, the surgical plan is confirmed. A date is set, and with it comes a sense of inevitability. As I rise from the chair, a mix of anxiety and relief runs through me. What will happen? What awaits me on the other side of this surgery? The uncertainty is overwhelming, but I feel I have to face it. With my heart racing, I leave the hospital and walk through the streets. The chill in the air contrasts with the heat I feel inside, a storm of emotions. People pass by, indifferent to my internal struggle. The world goes on, but I am paralyzed, trapped between the past and the future. I don't know if I am ready for what is to come, but one thing is certain. I can no longer live like this, without action. As I move forward, a question echoes in my mind. Will the surgery bring freedom or just more pain? And most of all, do I really want to forget? With the doctor, I realize that now I need to raise the money for the operation. Reality weighs on me like an anchor. I studied art at university, majoring in fine arts, and after graduation I delved into photography. With my skills in drawing and portrait, I have built a reasonable career. However, the high cost of living in New York prevents me from saving. In 2 years, the money has disappeared and now the surgery becomes a financial and emotional challenge. I leave the hospital, my mind still reeling from the information about the tumor. I worry about the bills and how I will pay for this procedure. As soon as I set foot on the sidewalk, a shiver runs through my body. The cold wind cuts like a knife, but it is the voice calling me that really makes me stop. Liam. I turn and see Sophia, next to her new boyfriend, Chase. A knot forms in my stomach. The recognition is instantaneous, but the longing and pain surface, like a wave that I cannot contain. I nod slightly, but I feel my heart racing. I was about to move on, when Sophia insists, her voice filled with a concern that seems more like curiosity. "This hell," she says and frowns. "It is hard to process. This isn't just a routine checkup." Her eyes, filled with a mix of concern and suspicion, pierce me. I feel like I'm being scrutinized, like she's searching for some truth in me. Anger rises like a dormant volcano, ready to erupt. What does she expect me to say? I'm tired of performances. I'm not an actor on a stage, even if she seems to expect me to play a role. When I left Sophia's apartment, it was like a knife had been stabbed in my chest. The emotional pain was overwhelming, a constant reminder of what we had lost, of what I still felt. Despair and betrayal tangled together in a tangle of emotions. But at the same time, a decision was forming inside me. This would be the last time she hurt me. I would not allow her to continue trampling on my soul. Sophia watched me with a look I couldn't decipher. It was a mix of compassion and coldness, and it bothered me. I didn't want her pity. I wanted the truth, even if it meant facing the pain. She wanted to know if I was faking amnesia. This wasn't a performance. This was my life. This confusion was my new normal. I looked at Chase, who stood beside her, and a wave of jealousy and contempt stirred inside me. He was there, acting as if he had every right to occupy the space that was once mine. A space where love and happiness were the norm. Now, it's just an empty stage, and the story between us seems to be coming to an end. Sophia says something, but I can't hear her. The sound of pain is louder than her words. Instead of continuing the conversation, I decide it's not worth it. Every second I spend with her is a blow to my heart. What I want most now is to move on. I want to heal my body, but I also need to heal my soul. With that in mind, I slowly walk away, determined not to look back. Not anymore. In the days following the breakup, a new feeling begins to blossom within me, the desire to play dirty. I feel a mix of anger and empowerment. The first thing I do is consult a lawyer. When I discover that, although Sophia acts as if the apartment is hers alone, legally it is still in my name, a smile of satisfaction appears. This is my land, and she needs to learn a lesson. I never bothered to review the documents when she moved in with that new guy. Now, however, I see that the game has changed. I don't just want the apartment. I don't care about the things we bought together, the furniture, the television, or the car stereo that's in her name, but that I paid for almost half of. My focus is deeper. It's about principle. I want what's mine, and she's going to have to face the consequences of her actions. I begin to prepare a lawsuit quietly, without her knowing anything. The lawyer assures me that, with time, I will be able to recover what is mine. In the meantime, the surgery remains a detail in my life, a matter to be resolved. I enter the hospital with a calm mind, as if I were finally cleaning the last traces of pain that it left in me. And what if I lose my memory? Maybe that will be a relief. A chance to forget the painful memories that torment me. 2 weeks after the surgery, things begin to take shape. I receive a notice that the lawsuit is underway. Sophia, of course, still has no idea what is coming. Adrenaline runs through my veins. I am preparing for the next step, the execution of my revenge. One Saturday morning, I gather up the courage and go to the apartment where she and Chase live. I knock on the door with renewed determination. They don't know it yet, but I am there to recover everything that is mine. When Sophia opens the door, the look of surprise on her face is a priceless trophy. I can feel the irritation mixing with a hint of confusion. "What are you doing here?" she asks, clearly irritated. "I came to get my things," I reply coolly, maintaining my composure. She laughs, that laugh that irritates me deeply, as if I were a fool trying to appear strong. "Your things are nothing more than yours here," she says, and the arrogance in her voice provokes me. "Oh, yeah. There's none left and you'll find out soon enough," I say, handing her a court notice. Her expression changes. She unfolds the paper, and I see her eyes widen with each line she reads. "You're suing me for the apartment? For the car? That's ridiculous." The anger in her voice is palpable, but at the same time, I can hear the fear hidden in her gaze. Chase appears behind her, with an air of arrogance that only makes me want to laugh. "This is your reality now, Sophia. You're going to have to deal with the consequences," I say, holding tight to the feeling of victory that builds inside me. The game is over. A sense of control fills my mind as I stare at Chase, who leans against the door as if he owns the situation. "Do you think you'll get anything out of this?" he asks, his arms crossed in a cocky confidence. "I don't think so," I reply, keeping my cool even as anger simmers inside. The next few months turn into a nightmare for Sophia. The weight of the lawsuit seems to grow with each passing day, and I take subtle pleasure in imagining the pressure she's under. Chase's smile begins to fade as the legal fees pile up. They thought I was weak, but now they see the mistake they made. One day, everything seems to align in my favor. I get an unexpected call from my lawyer. "We've discovered something important." My heart races. Chase isn't just Sophia's new boyfriend. He's a con artist with a past full of fraud. With each word I hear, a wry laugh forms on my lips. The man she chose to replace me is, in fact, using her. While Sophia lives in her bubble of false amnesia, the truth is that she's the one being deceived. With this new information, I decide to take action. I text Sophia, asking her to meet me at a coffee shop. She accepts, probably thinking I want to get back together or discuss the lawsuit. When we sit down, I get straight to the point. "I know who Chase really is," I say, watching her expression change. "What do you mean by that?" Doubt and nervousness dance in her eyes. "He has a history of cheating on women." "He's using you," I say. Her reaction is a mix of surprise and disbelief. "You're making this up," she tries to deny, but I can see the crack in her confidence. I pull an envelope from my pocket with the documents my lawyer provided me. Fraud records, fake identities. The panic on her face becomes evident as she begins to read. When she's finished, Sophia's expression turns to despair. "You're lying," she whispers, but her voice wavers. She knows I'm telling the truth. I'm not like you, I say, the pent-up anger now showing. I just want you to see who's really there for you. She stands up abruptly, tears streaming down her face, and leaves the cafe without looking back. A strange sense of satisfaction wells up in me. By revealing Chase's betrayal, I have dealt Sophia the final blow. But something inside me doesn't feel entirely satisfied. My intention was never to humiliate her for someone else. I wanted to be the one to teach her a lesson. I wanted her to feel the pain I felt. Then an idea pops into my head. A friend of Sophia's appears in my thoughts, and now she could be the key to the turnaround I've been hoping for. I'll use her to unmask Sophia and confront her with the truth she's so desperately trying to avoid. This new strategy could be the final piece in my plan for revenge. The irony of fate seems to watch me as I approach Camila. She's smart, charming, and very different from Sophia. I decide that this approach will not only serve my purpose, but also provide an opportunity to move forward in a meaningful way. Camila and I met casually, but we quickly gained each other's trust. Our conversations, which started out innocent, became increasingly deeper. One day, she asked me what happened between Sophia and me. I don't lie. I tell the whole story, including the amnesia hoax. Indignation shines in Camila's eyes, and her disbelief echoes in the words she speaks. As time passes, our friendship grows into something more intense. We start to see each other more often, and soon we are truly together. What used to be my apartment, where I shared bitter memories with Sophia, now becomes our home. The lawsuit against Sophia continues, and eventually I win everything. The apartment, the car, the furniture. When the final notice arrives, I see Sophia approaching my door, furious. The emotion is palpable as I watch her knock. Beside me, Camila is ready for confrontation. I open the door with a cold smile, and Sophia's anger is evident. Liam, you're taking everything from me. We've been together for years. You can't just erase me like that. Her voice brims with desperation. For a moment, I see the fear in her eyes, the fear of losing everything she's ever known. I bow slightly, feigning surprise. We dated for years. I thought you had amnesia, I say sarcastically. Camila looks at me, puzzled. She hadn't known that part. You remember all of that now, Sophia? You decided to fake amnesia to break up with me, I say, each word carrying an electric tension. The air between us grows thick as Camila slowly turns to Sophia, disbelief written all over her face. You faked all of that? The amnesia, the breakup? Like it was a joke. Camila's voice is firm, and the truth becomes clear. Sophia tries to justify her actions, but it is too late. Camila, now aware of the farce, looks at her with determination. You pretended to forget me. Now I really do forget you. Sophia, silenced, realizes the trap she has fallen into. She turns her gaze to me, but there are no more words. The apartment, our old home, now belongs to me and Camila, and there is no room for Sophia, both physically and emotionally. After this confrontation, I enter the hospital for surgery. This time, I do not carry the weight of uncertainty. I am at peace, knowing exactly what I am doing. The surgery is a success, and the memories I feared losing remain intact. Deep down, even if some memories had disappeared, I would not care. I am finally free of Sophia and everything she represents. Months pass. My life with Camila settles into a pleasant routine. The apartment we share becomes our home, full of happy memories, with no trace of what was with Sophia. One day, while I am making breakfast, the doorbell rings. I don't expect visitors, so I approach the door. When I open it, my heart stops. Sophia is there, her belly protruding, tears of despair in her eyes. Liam, she begins, her voice cracking. Please, I need your help. I've made mistakes, but I need you to listen to me. I freeze, unable to process what I'm seeing. The same woman who tried to erase me is now reaching out to me, and the complexity of my feelings returns. The irony of life hits me hard when I see Sophia, with her protruding belly, asking for help. At first, I don't feel compassion, but a wave of anger and justice engulfs me. For so long, I've waited for this opportunity, the chance to balance the books. I recover from the surprise and, with a cold calm that surprises me, I say, "I'm sorry, but I think you made the wrong mistake. This house isn't yours anymore." Sophia's look of disbelief turns to despair, her tears flowing freely. "Liam, please, you can't do this to me. I remember everything we've been through together. I'm here because I really need help. The baby's father left me and I don't know who else to turn to." The fragility in her voice is heartbreaking, but something inside me refuses to give in. The revenge I've planned isn't just about what I've lost. It's about recognizing my own worth. The simple fact that she's coming back for help makes me feel like the scales of justice have finally balanced. "Do you really think I could remember anything about you?" I ask, my voice hard. "I don't know who you are, and I have no reason to help you." Sophia tries to get closer, but I stop her with a gesture. "Please, Liam, you have to understand. My life has fallen apart and I have no one left to trust." "Maybe you should have thought about that before you toyed with people's feelings," I reply. "My life is fine now, and I'd rather it stay that way." I see the desperation in her eyes turn to anger. "That's cruel, Liam. I can't believe you've changed so much." "No, Sophia," I say coldly. "What's changed is the path you've chosen. When I see you, you're no longer a part of my life, and you never will be." With those words, I close the door softly, leaving her outside. As I walk away, I feel the weight of the decision I have made. Instead of guilt, a strange satisfaction washes over me. The same person who tried to manipulate me and erase my life is now out on the street, unable to recover what he has lost. Camila appears in the kitchen, noticing the tension on my face. "Who was it?" she asks. "Someone from the past," I answer, trying to smile to hide the intensity of what happened. "Someone who no longer belongs in our lives." With the door closed, I leave the past behind. Sophia disappears as she tried to do to me, but this time, there is no room for her in my life or in my heart. Revenge, in its most bitter form, is complete. Now, I am the one in control of my destiny, and this new life with Camila is everything I have ever wanted. As I look out the window, I feel like I did the right thing. The freedom I feel is undeniable, and for the first time in a long time, peace settles in my heart.